I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10. Let's focus on verses 28 and 29. The rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, the temple servants, and all who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands to the Torah of God, along with their wives, sons, and daughters, everyone capable of knowing and understanding, joined their kinsmen and their leaders in swearing an oath accompanied by a curse in the case of non-compliance, as follows: "We will live by God's Torah, given by Moses, the servant of God, and will perform and obey all the commands, rulings, and laws of Adonai, our God." Now, before Israel trusts the actual walls of Jerusalem, they had to rebuild the spiritual walls of Jerusalem through seeking God's word and prayer. And before houses could be built within the walls of Jerusalem, the homes of Jerusalem had to be established on the foundation of fathers obtaining the knowledge of God's word, which would reveal their need for personal confession. And only then could national confession be made. So in today's chapter, those homes are further distinguished by a separation from the peoples of the land and a movement toward the Torah of God. Now, they were to be a nation in the world and yet distinguished from it. And we live in a day and age where tolerance and political correctness seem to rule the day. And this generation of 18 to 30-year-olds is characterized by a strong distrust of institutions and absolutes. And it's hard for me to envision such a separation these days. Yet Jesus commands us to be in but not of the world. Now consider Jesus' prayer in John 17, verses 14 through 19. Jesus said, "I have given them your word, and the world hated them, because they did not belong to the world, just as I myself do not belong to the world. I don't ask you to take them out of the world, but to protect them from the evil one. They do not belong to the world, just as I do not belong to the world. Set them apart for holiness by means of the truth. Your word is truth. Just as you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. And on their behalf, I am setting myself apart for holiness, so that they too may be set apart for holiness by means of the truth." The truth is what sets you apart, the Bible, and belief in the Bible. In a culture that seeks to be liked by everyone, we live for likes and follows on social media. For my younger when my kids are teenagers, it's like, oh man, the worst thing in the world could be if somebody unfollowed me. Well, in this culture that seeks to be liked by everybody, and they want to be influencers with millions of followers, I'm reminded of the old saying, if you don't stand for something, well, then you'll fall for anything. More than simply standing for something, believers are standing on something, that is God's word. It is the very thing that distinguishes believers from the world. And by the way, what makes you relevant in the world is not your similarity to it, it is your distinction from it. But if you fear being disliked or rejected because of your pursuit of holiness, well, consider Jesus' instruction to his disciples in John 15, verses 18 through 20. If the world hates you, just understand that it hated me first. And if you belong to the world, well, the world would have loved its own. But because you do not belong to the world, on the contrary, I have picked you out of the world. Therefore, the world hates you. Remember what I told you, a slave is no greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you too. If they kept my word, well, they'll keep yours also. Holiness has a price, but the rewards of holiness are worth it. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And your giving to Groundworks Ministries transforms lives. Would you consider making a donation to Groundworks Ministries today? Because we need your monthly support now more than ever. And donating is secure and easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. You know, another way to help is to tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with your friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.